call us back into order for the January 28th regular session. I'd ask everyone to please join us in the flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for those of you just joining us, Board Director Adriana Congress is gone this evening. She's out ill. And I'm going to first hand it over to Superintendent Mike Scott.
All right, thank you. This month, we are recognizing our board members for all of the work that they do throughout our district. And oftentimes being a board member is a thankless job. There's other times like tonight where it feels much better. So we're happy to have the people in the audience, and we're thrilled that our board members are being recognized this evening. They put in countless hours, not a paid position. It is, yeah, sorry, there's no check at the end. It is just a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and a lot of commitment. So thank you for your efforts. We do have a proclamation that we're going to read into the record, and it reads this way. Whereas school boards create a vision for what students should know and be able to do, and whereas school boards establish clear standards for student performance, and whereas school boards ensure that student assessments are tied to established standards, and whereas school boards are accountable to the community for operating schools that support student achievement, and whereas school boards align school district resources to ensure that students meet standards, and whereas school boards create a climate that supports the philosophy that all children can learn at high levels, and whereas school boards build collaborative relationships based on trust, teamwork, and shared accountability, and whereas school boards are committed to continuous education and training on issues related to student achievement. Now we hereby declare our appreciation to the members of the Hillsboro School District's Board of Directors and proclaim the month of January 2014 to be School Board Recognition Month. Please join me in giving them a hand. We do have a couple schools that put together videos for you. So we're going to start with a video from Lad Acres Elementary. We've also got a video from Brookwood Elementary. All right, and a final surprise, Adam's prepared a song that he would like. No.
I would not do that to you.
Thank you very much for all the work that you put in. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you. It's a fun way to start the meeting. And move on. Tonight we also have some special recognition from Operation School Bell. I'd like to invite our guests up from Operation School Bell.
Oh, you want me to go?
Oh, yes. On behalf, can you hear me? On behalf of the Assistance League of Greater Portland, it is my honor to present to the Hillsboro School District the National Operation School Bell Award. I've been working with the district since 1998. You have provided space and transportation for us to be able to provide clothes to children in your district. In '98, we started and clothed 38 children with coats. By October of this year, we reached 7,000.
And if I ask my board members to join me for a photo opportunity.
Oh, no, I don't. I'm PR. I don't have my picture.
You guys are set forward in the line.
You stand and come to the award.
Into the light.
Into the light. Asking everyone to step into the light. More.
4 big steps.
Come on, that way.
I lost it.
Ready? 1, 2. Now, do you want one where Kim's got half of it and you got half of it?
Well, if I could, can I read what's on?
Of course.
Yeah. It says, presented to the staff, administration, and school board of Hillsboro School District for their continued support of Operation School Bell, clothing children in need since 1998. National Assistance League, 2013. So if anybody gets naughty or out of line,
All right, one last picture. Thank you. And they've asked that everyone in the picture sign their photo release so that the picture can go on their national website, so if you can take care of that, have good from you. And just one more opportunity to thank these ladies and some other gals. Up till now been all elementary school students, but this year and getting ready to happen this Thursday and Saturday, they are going to start serving middle school students for us, which is extremely exciting. 7th and 8th grade students this spring, they will serve 255 7th and 8th grade students in need with an actual shopping trip to Fred Meyer, where those students get to spend up to $125 to buy the things that they need to feel comfortable going to school. So we're very, very thankful and appreciative of that. So thank you. Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
How long after?
Okay, well, that's definitely the best part of the job. They are far more entertaining than we plan to be the next hour or two. With that, we will move into more boring stuff, I'm sorry. If I could please get an approval of the agenda, motion for the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Perfect, moved by Glenn, seconded by Eric to approve agenda. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And this is our audience participation time. I currently have one audience participation form. If there's anyone else in the audience who's hoping to speak to the board tonight, there are forms on the back table. I don't see a mass exodus of people running to the back table. Public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BDDH. Patrons may comment on specific agenda items at the beginning of the meeting or at the discretion of the board chair. They may be deferred to the time that the item is before the board as stated in the agenda. Comments about non-agenda items will be heard during audience time at the beginning of our regular session. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. And this evening we have Jaime Rodriguez. And Jaime, I'm looking because it almost looks like an agenda item. The admit non-resident students, do you want to speak at that time when we're doing that motion?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll hold this one until that agenda item. And so next I would need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Janine and seconded by Monty. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we'll move right along into action items. And the first item is to accept our 2012-2013 audit report. Adam.
So there is some exciting stuff still on the agenda.
Exciting.
Yes. So tonight we have Brett and Jason from our audit firm, Polly Rogers. They are here to talk about the audit report that you have received. Brett met yesterday with the audit committee, which is Glenn and Eric, to go over the audit report in a little more detail. Brett is going to talk about the report to the board that was included in the audit. So Brett, it's all yours.
Thank you, Adam. Before I get started, I do want to thank the staff here working for the 2013 fiscal year audit. Adam and Ann and Michelle have done a great job of assembling that report and working hard to make sure that's issued on time and that it's accurate and it's just a good representation of the district. So I'm going to cover kind of what our audit process, a little bit of the procedures, the purpose, the responsibilities, and the results of the 2012-13 audit by the firm. Purpose, there's 3 different audits. We do an audit of the generally accepted accounting principles to make sure the report's in accordance with those. We look at Oregon standards as well to make sure the report matches Oregon standards. And then as well as the last part, the third part is that it's in compliance and within the rules and related to expenditures of federal awards. As the auditors, it's our responsibility to plan and perform the audit in accordance with auditing standards. And I'll go into the results of the audit. We issue an opinion letter, and in that opinion letter we gave an unmodified, clean opinion with no reservations, so that's what you want to have in that part. As far as the state portion is concerned, there was no exception to issues requiring comment, except as noted on page 97 of the report. And then for the federal part, we found no issues of non-compliance and no question costs. So that's great to hear too. That's exactly what the board wants to hear from the staff and from the others. So all those 3 parts, clean opinion, unmodified, state minimum, there's no exceptions except as noted on page 97. And then the federal awards, no issues there. We noted a significant deficiency in internal control, which is detailed on the schedule of findings on page 107 of the report. Further in this governing body letter, it goes into management's responsibilities. They are responsible for certain estimates and the accounting procedures that they do here at the district. If there's any difficulties that our staff encountered with the district, we would need to let you know that there were none. If there was a significant amount of corrected and uncorrected misstatements that we noted, we would have to let you know that, and that there were no issues there. If there were disagreements with management, we'd have to let you know there were none. If management consulted with other independent accountants, we would need to disclose that to you. To our knowledge, there was no other consultations with other accountants. On the next page, we go into other matters. We list to you some of the future GASB announcements that are upcoming that might affect the presentation of the financial statements and how they account for the money here at the district. Those are listed there that I recommend that we're working on with your staff to make sure that they're being taken into account. And then let's list some best practices, not significant deficiencies, just best practices of reminders or recommendations that just to make sure the district is operating at a level that meets standards and is just, always looking at ways to improve. And so we list out a few best practices for the district there. If there's any questions on the audit process, I'm happy to answer those now, but I think, based on the results, clean opinion, and there was no financial, or no issues with federal expenditures as well. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those that you might have now.
I have a question for you. Is he referenced page 107 of the document, is that on TeamWorks?
The document is actually on the website and on Teamwork.
Okay,
I didn't see it on Teamworks.
I was just looking for it and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I actually got a direct URL from one of your emails that I can use, but I haven't seen the document on Teamworks.
Okay, it's on the district website.
Okay, thank you.
Under the budget manager.
All right. Did anyone have questions? So I would need a motion to accept the audit report.
I'll move to accept the audit report.
I'll second.
Moved by Glenn, seconded by Eric. Anyone have questions, comments?
I just want to make a quick comment. First off, I appreciate Adam and the staff's time putting this together, and you guys did a lot of work on this, and it was very well done. The audit came out really clean. I was impressed. I would have been shocked if they hadn't found at least one minor defect. But sitting through the whole discussion that was stated publicly, that I'm confident in your management response to the things that they brought up, and I thought it was just an excellent process all the way around.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
You're right, Adam, this was exciting.
See? That's
There's our goal, keep them unhappy. Okay, so it's been moved by Glenn and seconded by Eric. Seeing no other questions or comments, all those in favor of accepting the audit report, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you. Please, Steve. And next is to adopt a resolution to admit non-resident students. What we'll do is we'll take a presentation from Beth, and then this is where we have audience participant, and then we'll do motion and our feedback.
Okay, so a couple of years ago now, in the 2011 legislative session, the legislature passed House Bill 3681 that instituted a process for open enrollment, which is transfers between districts, and it indicates that boards must make a decision as to whether or not they're going to participate in open enrollment and announce the number and location of openings prior to March 1st, and then allow any applications to come in during the month of March, and then there's a process for filling those spots after that. A decision to participate or not does not affect your resident students' ability to leave the district if that is what they so choose during open enrollment, but we can make the decision whether or not we want to accept any new students. Of course, it's the board's discretion which direction we go here. We have the last 2 years participated under open enrollment. We did so with some understandings with our surrounding districts about limiting the number of students that we would accept from our closest neighbors. A recent change in last year's legislative session made that something that we can no longer do. So any slots that we decide to open up this year would be available to anyone regardless of what home district they live in right now. So my assumption is, based on previous conversations that we've had with the board, is that you do have an interest in making spots available where we can through this process. And so our recommendation to you would be to authorize us to go ahead and participate in open enrollment and direct staff, pretty much meaning Mike and I, in conjunction with consulting with the principals, to come up with a plan for the number and location of those openings.
Thank you. So Jaime, I'll ask you to come up now, and I'll remind you you get 3 minutes. And I'll have you do, I know you had 2 topics, I'll have you just roll them both together now under one time, since the other one's coming shortly thereafter.
First of all, thank you for giving me the time and the opportunity to say a few words about this policy, which I think is in good nature, good. I think we need to have some.
I can have you, for the record, first name and address, sorry.
Jaime Rodriguez, 1931 Southeast 55th Avenue, Hillsboro, parent of the Central High School student.
Thank you.
No problem. So anyway, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And again, I think this is a good policy. It says something that we need on a case-by-case, on a daily basis. We have parents who come in and out of the system, and unfortunately the children are moved from school to school. But what I'm more interested is that what happens when a child has joint custody, what happens when parents have joint custody and a child is pulled out of school without knowledge to the other parent? Okay, I think that is more common than not. I had a friend of mine who couldn't be here tonight because he worked swing shift. But yesterday afternoon, he got a text from his ex-wife saying that she was pulling him out of Tobias Elementary, which last time I checked was in the Hillsboro School District. And she moved him over to McKinley. Pretty much in one swift move, he was let out of Tobias and went to McKinley, which again, last time I checked was in Beaverton School District. So this parent is a friend of mine. He's a veteran, and he has some post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's very important that as a school system, we respect all parents in a joint custody situation, and we just don't allow one parent to manipulate or grab the system as they please. It took me about 2 hours to calm my friend down. I called my friend to calm him down and tell him, you know what, don't make it worse. He was ready to go to Tobias Elementary and beat up somebody. No, that's the last thing I want to do. So anyway, after about 2 hours, I was able to calm him down. We spoke to the principals of both schools, and I think there's a resolution there. However, we need to make sure that we prevent not only the fact that a parent can pull a kid out into another school system, another school district, but also in the joint custody situation, we're very, very careful. So I don't know what the policy is about that. I also just want to say that on Sunday, I was on the website for about 3 hours. It was a boring, no football game, so I had a lot of time. But it's remarkable. I want to say thank you to the great work, to the board, for stepping up and being a public leaders. It's not easy. I know that it's a lot of time commitment, but also to the staff. It's amazing and some great work that's going out there in just about every school. I mean, I went to every elementary school. Brookwood stood out, South Middle Junior High stood out, and Woods Hazel stood out. But again, keep up the great work, and I hope that some type of policy could be prevented from situations where a parent can just pull somebody out in the end when there's a joint custody with a child. Thank you.
So I just wanted to share a little bit. The situation that you're talking about is something that our building principals face on a fairly regular basis. And it's an incredible challenge because what we have to go by are the legal documents that are on file at the school, at the particular school. So if it's a joint custody situation, oftentimes there's paperwork that would indicate who is the decision maker for educational purposes. So I can assure you we are following our policies. More often than not, it's not uncommon for parents in a joint custody situation to have a variety of perceptions on how that should go. So we'll continue to follow the legal documents that we have on file, and oftentimes in situations like that, it's a reminder to the parents to make sure that we have the latest documents that are available. So thank you.
And so with that, I'd be looking for a motion on the resolution to admit non-resident students.
I would move that we adopt resolution to admit non-resident students.
Second.
All right, questions, comments? I know we've discussed this a lot in previous work sessions getting ready for today.
A statement in there about directing staff.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just have a comment. I wonder if it has to be read just as suggested, so it specifically speaks out to House Bill.
I don't know that that part's as important as maybe the further direction to
Yeah.
staff to determine
Okay.
the number of people.
So I just,
Yep, so
Go ahead.
can you re-motion?
I move that we adopt resolution to admit non-resident students as written, noting that we are directing the staff to analyze the availability and slots and make a proposal with specific details at a future meeting.
And so second. Okay. Any questions or comments?
I would just note that many school districts are going through the same process right now. I read in the paper that I think it was Tigard, they opened up nearly 100 spots, so they're willing to do it, so hopefully we'll be able to do this once.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that with it, the timing is right so that you can be making your allocation decisions in the spring when you normally would, and that we leave some pad in places where we feel like we have space. Oftentimes later in the year, when students actually move into that area, we don't have space, and the crowding actually can come from transfer, not from the students who live in that neighborhood.
I just wanted to thank you and whoever will be involved. I know it's a lot of work. I think it's a great thing to do, to analyze and see where we can do this. I know you'll go at it with diligence, and I appreciate your effort.
Any other comments? So moved by Wayne, seconded by Eric to admit non-resident students. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we look forward, that's the mic for updates.
More to come.
Thanks for, we love giving you homework. And next on the agenda is to approve revisions to policy IKAB, student progress report. Steve.
All right. This policy was brought to you in October with some proposed changes that were recommended by OSBA. At the 30-day review, we got feedback from you all that you'd like us to consider bringing the recommended language from OSBA in alignment with what we currently had as IKAB. And so this final revision, or this latest revision, is the result of that. So we took what's currently on the books for IKAB, added in the language that brings us into alignment with 2220. And the result is there. So looking for any additional feedback or approval.
So if we can start with the motion.
I move that we, approve revisions to policy IKAB to progress reports to parents with the modifications to current policy as shown.
I'll second that.
Great. Any questions or comments on it? So Steve, we heard last week from a legislator that the bill he's carrying in February is to modify House Bill 2220. Do you feel like this is the policy that will never die?
Yeah, we may be back with this policy. So.
Clarification.
Yes, this legislator is Representative Gallegos, and I can't remember who he said was co-sponsoring the bill, but they feel like there's far too much assessment and time wasted on assessment, that, if I heard him correctly, with that bill, and they'd like to clean it up so that perhaps they aren't creating more work than they intended to create.
The assessments.
Yeah, and that would be in this February session.
And the issue is that there's no clear indication of what's going to happen with that legislation, if anything.
Right.
So at this point, the prudent thing is for us to continue with the timeline that puts us in a good position to meet the timeline necessary. There may be more to come on this.
I was just going to say, part of this came from learning more about 2220 at the OSBA conference earlier, and one of the statements I remember from them in that discussion was that the legislation or whatever, I don't know, but that 2220 was specifically about a portion of the document that was getting attention, but that the document itself was not majorly changed. I mean, there was a lot of stuff involved, and it sounds like is the statement that it's affecting 2220, or it's affecting the policy that 2220 modified? And I'm not sure how that works exactly, but I had the impression from the meeting that the overall policy was something bigger than what 2220 was targeting as a change of that. Am I remembering this wrong?
Okay, so policy IKAB refers to more than just 2220. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, the policy that we have it here is our policy.
Yeah.
But 2220, I thought, was modifying, it wasn't, the thing that was changing in the action of 2220 was something that was smaller than the overall governing document that was often referred to.
Right. If there is a new law that stops the implications of 2220, there's only a portion of IKAB that would need to be adjusted, and that would be the 4 items in the policy that are new, particularly the separation of
Behavior.
So, yeah, it's likely, we don't know anything.
Right, sorry, I didn't mean to open a can of worms, I just.
We were so close to passing it.
No, please don't pass it. I just, the thing that just keeps coming back up. So.
And from what the conversation is that it actually is looking very favorable that there will be changes. There seems to be bipartisan support to make sure that, to reduce the amount of assessments. I think that's...
And it's House Bill 4150,
4150.
which you can find on the Oregon Legislative Information System website if you're interested in reading the text of it.
Thank you. All right, so with that, we have a motion on the table to approve the revisions to the policy. Anyone have any last comments or questions? All those in favor of the revisions, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Thanks, Steve, for your extra work on that. And this is to appoint a member to the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee, and Travis Ryman will present that.
It's an honor for me to serve as the secretary to the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee, and it's a committee that consists of 14 citizens that advise the board and the district on matters of curriculum. Each member of the board appoints 2 members to the CCAC in staggered terms, and when a member is unable to serve and resigns their position, board members have an opportunity to appoint a new CCAC member. So Jennifer Zohar has resigned her position, and Mr. Clip has, tonight is his opportunity to publicly nominate Kim Thayer to fill that position for the rest of the term. The board has the opportunity to approve that appointment.
Great, thank you. I'm going to turn to you, Mr.
I move that we appoint Kim Thayer as a member of the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee for the remainder of the term. 2019.
And I'll second that.
Perfect. Any questions or comments? Perfect. So moved by Wayne and seconded by Glenn to appoint Kim Thayer to the CCAC. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard, Ms. Thayer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clarifying question on that is I believe that I'm going to have 2 appointees coming up, I believe, because one has decided to discontinue and one is a staff member who only has so much time. So would that be next meeting?
So Val and I'll, we'll support you in identifying those new appointees, and then we'll come back with the same formal process.
Let me know if you have somebody in mind.
Yeah, I have some people, in mind. I just don't know how, if they're ready to take on.
We'll do it. We'll work with Val to make sure we can contact them.
So next meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move into reports and discussion, and the first item is the school-based health center update. I'm going to turn it over to Adam.
Great. It was about a year ago this time when we opened the doors of our school-based health center after many years of planning. And tonight we have representatives from Virginia Garcia, our medical sponsor at the Century School-Based Health Center, Ivan Wang, Charles Aschow, and Jamie Fordyce here to present to you the kind of what happened in the startup, where the clinic currently stands, and then we've got a presentation by some Century students who are going to talk about one of the exciting events that they've got coming up. So I'll turn it over to you guys. Mike, do you have the clicker for that?
stole my slide. I'm here to, introduce my team. We're Virginia Garcia Memorial Health Center, and we run your school-based health center. So take it away, guys. Thank you.
So I want to thank you for this opportunity to share. I feel privileged to work at an organization that provides holistic care. We offer medical, dental, and mental health care on site at the Century School-Based Health Center. And I want to report to you that we have seen patients from every high school, every middle school, and many of the elementary schools in the district. We have begun to build relationships with schools in the district and others in the community. You can see a representation of at least some of them here. We've seen patients for a variety of preventive as well as restorative needs. I was also invited to present to some of the science classes at Century as well as Liberty High Schools about obesity and things that students can do to improve their health and those around them. I'm excited to see that there are many kids who have been making healthy changes as a result of visiting the school-based health center that can benefit them, their families, their future employers, as well as their communities. For example, I've seen a number of patients that have gone from being obese to overweight, or from being overweight to being healthy weight. Some of the patients that I've seen have reported to me that they wouldn't have been seen otherwise if the school-based health center were not there. And one particular student that comes to mind is a homeless student who travels 1.5 hours one way to get to the school. So Jamie is going to share with you some of the exciting things that we have coming up.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I came on in September, and I came up from San Francisco School District. And I just want to tell you that I'm very impressed with all the staff that I've met with the school district and also the students. I've had a lot of doors held open for me, and it's always nice to be welcomed into the school that way. Right now we're approaching our year mark, and we're really trying to do more outreach to the schools, not just Century. We really want to be of service and figure out what that looks like to all the schools in the school district. So we'd like to increase our visibility and do more outreach and programming. And we're excited to talk with Beth next Monday about some more opportunities to where we can become more involved on other school campuses. Thriving schools. We've finished our first year of Thriving Schools, and we have 2 more years to go with this grant. It focuses on 3 key areas: obesity prevention, social and emotional wellness, and staff wellness. We have a lot of measures in place. We're working with a lot of school groups. I met with the Gay Straight Alliance today to do a really great hallway health campaign. And then we're going to work with the Pride Project and connecting those students. It's really empowering for them, and I think it's going to build a lot of community on the school campus, which ties directly into social and emotional wellness. On Thursday, we have a staff wellness day planned at Century with yoga at 7 a.m. And then we have healthy snacks available for staff to set them up for a great day of grading. They've had finals all week, so no students will be on campus on Thursday. And it's not mandatory that they go to yoga, but I hope you do. And after school at 4 o'clock, there's a boot camp. You are all invited. So we're trying to target what the staff would like to do to build more camaraderie on campus, and also institute a culture of change to where having walking breaks or more healthy snacks available on campus, and really just building that a culture that we're going to be fit throughout our workday, and make it accessible as well. We're more than just primary care. We offer a lot of services. One of our big services that we really see a visible impact is with our dental program. We have a lot of students who may be 10 or 12 years old and have never been to the dentist. So it's really rewarding to be able to offer that on site. We have a dental hygienist with an extended license that can do those services. It's also a non-threatening environment, and we haven't had one child cry. It's been pretty great. We also provide regular checkups and sports physicals, and we have a new mental health therapist on board, and we're really excited to have her. She comes with a great background in working with adolescents, so it's nice to have a mental health therapist who's she has a great intention, and I hope we can bring her next time. Again, our overall goal at our center is to ensure young adults have the tools necessary to succeed and enjoy lifelong health. And we're starting to work with the PE department at Century High School. And I was thrilled to learn that their goal also is building an interest in lifelong health and fitness. So we're hoping to institute a heart rate monitor system for their PE department. And this one's very interesting in that the PE teachers have an iPad app and they can see every student's heart rate, so they can monitor them. But it's also an engaging way for students to see their own progress and to challenge themselves, and to also make PE an individual pursuit for students and to build those individual goals. For obesity prevention, we are working on an internal referral system. We're exploring the idea of possibly instituting a Connect system with Xbox. We're still looking into that, doing the research. There would be no other games besides the sports ones. However, it would provide a safe space for students to work out who would otherwise not feel comfortable in a regular PE setting, or due to weather, don't have that space, or unsafe neighborhoods. We're also this spring exploring a farm to school program at Century High School. I don't have a lot of development on that. That's still in the works, and we're exchanging some communications with the facilities department to get that going. For emotional and social help, we're building a lot of partnerships with organizations in the area. The Pride Project, Raphael House. We're also working with Kaiser's Educational Theater Project, who has done a residency at Century before. However, this one will start with focus groups continuing through the spring, and then for the next 2 years, they'll have an in-house residency at Century High School that will specifically target students based upon an equity measure for students who have not yet built that connection to school. So those are the students that we're going after. Not necessarily theater students, but students who could really benefit from that connection. And staff wellness, I've touched on this. Luckily at Century High School, there's great camaraderie amongst staff, and I've heard, my sense is that they're pretty competitive, so that's fun to build certain challenges around. I'm also organizing staff to participate in the Bridge to Bruise Run, and then there's also a Cinco de Mayo race where it's walker friendly. They're 8 to 10 Ks, and they receive a discount for enrolling, and we can all do it together.
Should we take questions before?
Let's go ahead and have the students. Yeah.
Students?
Devin, do you have the...
This is our health fair booth.
Hi, I'm Julian Hambley.
I'm Jackie Brenny. I'm Hillary Legg.
I'm Angeline Flexen.
And I'm Jenny Hill.
And for our senior project this year, we're doing the health fair in April.
You're going back to the other thing?
Yeah, the health fair.
He's fixing it. Oh,
Is it this one or the other PowerPoint?
It's
The other. The other, okay.
Very good. So it's going to be Saturday, April 12th, and it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in our student parking lot over by our football field. And our mission statement is we want to really increase awareness of healthy habits for community members who otherwise don't have access to healthy habits.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so the reason why we're doing this, and the reason why our group banded together, and the reason why we're having this health fair, is that for every senior, we have to do a senior project, and it's kind of like a community thing for each senior, but a lot of our classmates kind of tend to target Century High School itself, and we want to expand that and target our community as well as our students. And so we want to target parents, grandparents, middle schoolers, our feeder schools, so it would be a bigger target audience. And we also want to familiarize community members with local health facilities and resources that have just opened, like the student-based health center at our school, and also the Westside Kaiser Medical Center that just opened in Hillsboro. And lastly is to provide health services and information at the fair itself. So we'll be providing services there, and they'll be able to have tests and information that they can bring home instead of just learning about it there and forgetting about it. They can actually bring it home and hopefully utilize it at home as well. And so in order to achieve this goal and our purpose, we're going to be offering services and screenings, healthy food alternatives, physical activities, and resource information at the health fair on April 12th.
So at our health fair, we're going to be offering community members services and screenings that, like Hillary said, they wouldn't have access to normally. And so that includes having a chiropractor, dental services through a tooth taxi, like you see in that picture, or through having examinations at the student-based health center. And we're partnering with Tualdi Healthcare, and they're bringing their mobile mammography van, which, as you can see, is really big and bright and pink. And that will offer mammograms to women over 35 if they meet certain criteria. And Pacific University students and Tualdi Healthcare will be there to administer screenings and tests like that list you see up there, so that people can take those results, ask questions, and learn more information at the fair and continue healthy habits when they get home. And so continuing with the trend of taking healthy habits home with you, we're having different food options so that people know that there's healthier alternatives out there. And so, for example, we're having a Portland food truck that goes by Garden Monsters, and they sell salads, and New Seasons Market is hopefully donating grass-fed beef to us so that we can sell them burgers that are healthier than fast food, Burger King, McDonald's, that kind of stuff. And Bliss Bake Shop will be donating vegan and gluten-free options for desserts so people know that those are out there and available for them. And the School-Based Health Center has a bike blender that we're going to borrow, and so that people can blend their own smoothies while riding a bike, which is pretty cool. And so New Seasons Market is also contributing their nutritionists who will be answering questions and teaching people how to change around their diet to make it a little bit more healthier.
Okay, and we're going to offer interactive activities at our health fair, like physical activities, and we're partnering with Hawthorne Athletic Club and 24-Hour Fitness so that they can provide us with Zumba instructors, yoga instructors, and athletic trainers so that people can have the resources there at the fair so they can ask questions and they can receive free trials at the athletic clubs and fitness centers. And also we're hopefully going to work with pro athletes like the Timbers or the Hillsboro Hops so that they can come and lead interactive physical sports. And we're also going to work with our PE department to provide like adolescents at the fair with like activities that they can do. Like they could do tag and like dodgeball and kind of like fun stuff like that in PE that they would do.
So we also want to be able to provide a lot of information to our community members. So we're going to have a lot of information on different types of insurance, like Cover Oregon, Tuwali, Kaiser. And we're also going to have information on body care and supplements that the new seasons will be providing. And we also hope to have representatives of Red Cross and the American Heart Association. And for safety, we are hoping to have like ambulances or police officers come. And then for pamphlets, we're going to be providing information. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at this email and our advisor, Rochelle Carnes.
Do you have any questions?
You guys put this all together yourself?
Yes.
Very nice. Very
Thank you.
This looks like a great
Very impressive.
Thank you.
I love that you bonded together to do your senior project and just the variety of opportunities that you're providing for the community. When you look at the nutrition piece that you have there, you've got nutrition to insurance to Zumba. That's quite a variety. Really an impressive project.
Thank you. Did you have a question?
Oh, my question, my comment, I was incredibly impressed with the presentation. I do, the varieties, that fair is going to be a success. And thank you so much for offering that to the community. And you touched on the student that travels an hour and a half to school and the benefits. I mean, that's life-changing because we're here to, give kids the successful path in education, and you can't do that without, in their belly or being healthy. And so, I thank you so much for being here and offering the services that you do so that students can overcome that hurdle and do the best they can in school. So it was a lot of great information. Thank you so much. I'm very impressed with the students and the training. I'm excited to come on the 12th and even yoga at 7.
See you there.
So just to make one minor comment, I think this was all really good. I'm really impressed with all the stuff you've put together. I noticed buried in with all this health information, all these great types of health information you have, I saw a line about chiropractic. And that kind of disturbed me, just because I don't know if you guys are aware, chiropractors try to present themselves as just sort of another kind of doctor, but it's actually a non-scientific modality that I think is sort of in the reign of pseudoscientific New Age stuff. I'd encourage you to try to go online to a site called quackwatch.com and read a little book more, learn about chiropractic, because I really don't think it belongs in this kind of health fair. So really think about that. But I mean, it's great what you put together.
So I love chiropractic and my insurance benefits.
Like a good stuff for a top.
But I also think I have students who aren't in Century Theater, and I'm often telling students, especially students who don't have insurance, how to find the health-based center. And I think the health fair is actually really great advertising. I would encourage you to advertise it to the other high schools. Those students are most apt most able to be able to get themselves to that facility, and they often, I think especially mental health services are something that a lot of high school students might benefit from that don't have insurance, and I think that's a great nurture program for us. So, thank you very much. Any other, Adam?
I just wanted to point out that we do have staff liaisons at Century High School. We've got Rochelle that you see there. We've also got Janelle Dansky out here, who has been working closely with these guys. In fact, we meet monthly. Do we meet monthly? I guess we meet monthly as an advisory committee. Yeah, we haven't met because of the Christmas break, but we meet monthly and as an advisory committee discuss what's happening with the health center. We look at all the statistics and everything as to how many students they're serving and what types of students they're serving, and I think we've been sharing that information with you as well. So.
Yeah, year to date we've actually seen 450 unique patients. And it's anecdotal, but each one of them has a cool story.
Right.
I mean, you really can ask what this health center means to you. And So that's pretty exciting to do that on a day-to-day basis.
My additional comment was, again, it's just another example where you have placed resources in an area that benefits students, and then the community then can be a part of that and build and become a bigger partner within the district. And so I think it's just, again, it's really impressive that you've taken that, and knowing that these community partners can not only help these students, but also, I mean, for the here and now, but potentially for their future, if they decide they want to go into healthcare and things like that, and encouraging them. So I think it's a win-win all around, so thank you.
One more comment for you.
So I'm not sure if the question goes to you, but how have the financials worked out? I mean, there was a lot of discussion early on
Charles,
related
you
to
wanna
whether
address that?
it's self-sustaining, and I think how successful from the financial decisions we made going into it has it been?
Yeah, well, we're still in ramp-up mode, and we've been underwritten quite nicely through some federal and state grants. So I'm not, it's something to keep an eye out on, but it's really after year one passes, year two, year three, we're starting to see, okay, is it rubber hitting the road? Are we meeting our numbers financially? But we have a budget, we have metrics we're trying to meet on the productivity end. So
One of the good things is that we are seeing an increase in state funding. The state has allocated more funds than what we had originally projected.
And although we can't bill directly with Kaiser Permanente, they're helping us tremendously through funding these program grants. So a lot of these grants are actually being funded directly through Kaiser, which is helping us do a lot of the outreach and activities that you can't bill for. Keep your doors open with. So.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much all for coming and sharing.
Thanks very much.
Great to see you. All right, that's the top back to follow the senior project. So next is the strategic plan performance update.
We, as you know, on a regular basis, we're providing updates to you on those things that we mutually agreed upon as indicators for our strategic plan work. Steve's going to kick us off with the instruction.
Devin, do you have a keyboard that we're driving from?
Yeah.
You want us to? Sorry.
Is there our website?
We just need to.
Website? Okay.
I'm going to keep you hopping.
I know.
You said escape out of that.
There we go. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to buzz around our district website. We have been posting lots of artifacts on the metrics that we've identified for the strategic plan. I'm going to go through the instruction one. You'll notice down here that we've pulled out the strategic priority for Henry and Lincoln Street. I'll talk about that one second. So if I click here under instruction, we've got the previous reports down here on the left, and I can't read any of that, but I know that if I click, I think that's, yeah. Okay, so I really appreciated the time I got to spend with you at the last session to learn more about what you'd like to see as evidence under the instruction strategy. This is an attempt on my part to begin to draw the conclusions about the investments that we make in professional development and the results in student achievement. And so what we have here is an analysis of the work that's been done at Reedville Elementary School. Some of you got to see the learning labs in action over there. It's hard to isolate any one thing in a school that that creates outcomes in student achievement. But I feel very confident being able to say that a deliberate focus on our bilingual program model, specifically focused in integrated ELD. One, because Robin is an expert in focused and integrated ELD. She hired coaches who are in that, and they provide training and on-demand coaching in focused and integrated ELD. So among many other things, what students bring, what parents bring, what teachers bring. What I was able to do is show you a kind of a correlation. It's hard to say that. I'm not a statistician or a psychometrician, but you can see that performance prior to the investment in focused and integrated ELD was at 47%, and that's you said it's a median growth percentile. This is a new term that the state of Oregon is using that they adapted from the Colorado growth model. Basically what this says is that they take all of the students in that school and they rank them in by median, right? So it's just high-low. And they take the one in the center and they say that's your median percentile ranking. So that student who's in the median performs at the same rate or better than 47% of the other students in that school, right? So you take a look at that and you take a look at the next year's median growth, and it's 57%, and that's an increase of 10 percentile points. That's remarkable, and actually that's the reason why they moved from a level 1 to a level 3 in 1 year.
So Steve, well, why isn't that 14?
Does it say 43 or 47?
It's 47, 43.
It says 43 and 57.
Even better.
You were testing to make sure we were reading it.
Typo.
We passed.
So, and then I disaggregated by English language learner. Does my math work on that one there?
Yeah.
16.5, okay. So, and then I did the same thing in math. We wouldn't expect to see the level of growth in math, a little bit, because there's language in everything that we do, but we still saw growth for our English language learners in math. So the reason I float this one out is to continue the dialogue with you about does this get us closer to analyzing the impact of professional development, things that we choose to leverage, and outcomes in schools. So I have here, because I can't in good conscience draw a strict correlation, there are many others that could have contributed. So I need to put that down there on the bottom. So if you take a look at that, give me feedback on whether, how you're feeling about that, if you want to see more of those, and that's what I'll be working on. Okay, I'm going to go back into the second category. There's still other evidence there. The second category here continues to provide you with artifacts of the curriculum materials and resources that we're developing as an Office for School Performance. There was a request that we start to analyze the degree to which teachers are accessing those resources, and we are working on a survey to do that. So we want to make sure, it's one thing to build the resources, we want to make sure that it's helpful for teachers and that we're monitoring and adjusting it over time. Finally, the third part, I wanted to bring your attention to the feedback that we got from our LIAC group, Latino Youth Advisory Council, that the OSP executive team met with them in a focus group to, like we do with the administrators and the parents, to see how are you perceiving school. So I encourage you to read the minutes on that. It's eye-opening. It's sometimes disturbing to hear how our students are feeling about school, but it gives us that real-life information we need to quickly make adjustments. And finally, I added here, based on your feedback, that the pattern of involvement in our feedback groups, our focus groups that we're having, we would like to see at 35 in the teacher, the classified, and the parent group, because we have 35 schools. We're looking for one representative from each school. You can see that you can't see,
Yeah.
if you could, and the numbers were right, you'd see that we're up to 30 here for our classified, or let's say our parent group. We have great attendance there. We just want to see an increase over time, but we would probably not exceed 35 at any one time. Okay, I'm going to go back to really briefly to go over this strategic priority. at Henry. I think you'll be pleased to know that nearly 300 students between the two schools are receiving after-school tutoring in reading and math. Of course, it's dependent on being able to find those tutors. We have a lot of staff that are extending their day to do it, and that's a lot to ask. Henry has been able to staff up faster than Lincoln Street, but Lincoln Street will have similar amounts of students receiving tutoring over time. They just are having a little more difficulty finding those tutors. So expect to see some pre-test results, and then by the end of the year, I hope to be able to show you, I expect to be able to show you growth over time on measures other than OAKS. We would expect to see some growth there too, but some of these students aren't yet taking OAKS. So, okay. Beth, do you want to go?
All right. So, sorry, Steve. I was going to tell you about this, but
I appreciate it.
I didn't want to interrupt you. So, sorry. Anyway, so just a couple of highlights under the engagement strategy. As you can see, we're continuing to have a lot of people downloading our mobile app, which is very exciting. We've got posters up in our buildings, and we also have created little business cards that have the QR code on them, as well as mention of both locations where people can go download the app, and those are in business card holders at each of the schools. So I think it's really helping to get the word out, so that's exciting. I thought it was very cool to see just how many people viewed the story about Blanco senior Jesse Rokel and him getting the full ride scholarship to University of Chicago. 2,400 views of that story. Very exciting. And it really kind of supports our theory heading into this year, which is get as many pictures of our students up and out as we can with those positive stories of achievement and what they're doing in schools, because those are the things that are really meaningful to people and drive people to want to learn more about what's going on in our district and our schools. Our webmaster, Justin Airy, did work with Intel and had some help from our board members in drumming up volunteers, but we had 13 volunteers who signed up to help some of our schools maintain their websites, and a training for them was held on January 13th. There were 13 people on January 13th, pretty superstitious people. But those connections are now being made between the volunteers and the schools, and so we're really excited to kind of see how that unfolds. My guess is that there'll be some really super great partnerships that come out of this, and some that maybe don't quite get the steam that they could, but hopefully we can get some really great examples and try to replicate that in the future. And anytime our schools feel like they can use support, at least we can have a model for deploying that help to them. And then also just wanted to draw your attention, obviously December is a time when there's a lot of stuff going on with community partners who want to reach out and help our students in need. This year, our volunteer coordinators were able to sign up 499, one shy of 500 families to receive holiday baskets through the Elks Holiday Basket Program, which is just outstanding. I mean, that is really amazing. And once again, our high schools did a great job with their canned food drives, and the competition between the schools certainly helps. So they got a lot of stuff going. As I mentioned to you earlier, we are currently serving some middle school students with the holiday shopping program, or not holiday, with the shopping program at Fred Meyer to get them the support that they need. Typically that support has only been available to elementary students, so the expansion to middle is very exciting, and we've indicated to Assistance League that if they are able to secure additional funds, we would obviously like to expand that up to high school as well. And if I misstated the number previously, it is 255 7th and 8th graders that we'll be able to serve this spring, which is very exciting. So yeah, those are some of the highlights, other stuff in there, but if you have any questions. Okay, the equity. Do Control minus to make it smaller, and then
It is hard to navigate. I even have some glasses, just click a button.
Yeah.
I know Steve just said, now this isn't sharp. I think I'm ready. Thank you for your patience. So, in equity, if you remember, we have 2 action areas in this area. The first one is to develop and implement a comprehensive professional development plan that meets the diverse needs of our community. During this reporting period, this 2-month reporting period, we've actually had 4 professional development opportunities, and I'll just briefly kind of go over them. We had 20 participants currently that are in UUR training, United for Understanding Racism, and we finished with a group last month, and we got the survey results back from that group. And what we're finding is that there's such a demand for this, that the relationship that staff are having between these trainings and these work groups with UUR and the work they're doing with students, that we actually feel like there's more demand than we can meet right now. So we're looking at how do we expand our capacity to provide more UUR trainings for the district. And what that means is training more trainers. And so it's bringing our staff together and locating more trainers so that we can actually meet the demand for UUR in our district. So that's pretty exciting. It's really identified as one of the more valuable opportunities for our staff for training in the area of equity. We had a 2-day workshop on taking it up, and we had 80 participants. The exciting thing about this one is that, if you remember back, what we're trying to do is also reach out to our local community and involve them in some of our trainings. And so we actually, of the 80, we had 5 participants from the city of Hillsboro and 5 parents join administrators and licensed and classified staff for this training. So it was a really nice opportunity to reach out to our community and include them in this. We've gotten really positive feedback. Actually, 95% of those that we surveyed at the end of this said that they wanted to do more of this kind of training so they could see more of an impact in the students that they work with. So we're getting really, really positive feedbacks from these trainings that we're having. I did include a few comments, anecdotal comments this time from some of the people that were trained. I'll just read a couple real quickly. Social justice is integrated into my life personally and professionally. I will take new tools and resources from this training back into the classroom and life to further my students' learning. So they're seeing a real connection with this and the work that they're doing. This is a training I will use and develop during the life of my teaching career. This is the difference. Knowing myself gives me a chance to know my students tomorrow. So they're really feeling that connection in these trainings with the work that they're doing. 2 other PD opportunities that we've had. We had an equity seminar, and that was that follow-up for CFE. And it's supporting and continuing the work that we did, and those of us that got trained in CFE. We're having another session planned for February, a follow-up session, because people felt there was still a lot more work for us to do in our groups, and so we wanted to do some more follow-up. So we're going to meet in February to do that. And then the other one that we had was actually our administrative team came together, and we had an equity-focused professional development with John Linson. This was the second of 3 sessions that we're having to bring that equity work, all that related work at the building level with students. And so it was really an effective way for us as an administrative team to get together with John to work together. So we have 1 more of those trainings that's going to be scheduled. So that's kind of the PD in a nutshell. The second action area is implement and refine the recruitment and hiring and retention processes necessary to support the instructional needs of all students. We have multiple job fairs that we've scheduled already. We're getting into our hiring season, as you know. We're in the process of reworking our whole hiring and retention protocol. We've got groups working together to get feedback on how we can improve that. We're going to be going to the Western Oregon a job fair there, and they have a bilingual teacher training program. So we're really going to focus a lot of our efforts on really trying to get in there early and recruit those bilingual teachers from Western Oregon. If you remember, we also have a partnership with Western Oregon with some of our students. It's like a future teacher piece with that Western Oregon, so we've got a really strong partnership with them. We are in the process of writing an ODE minority teacher retention grant. We hope we get it. What it's helped us to do, though, is to focus on research and retention and what that says about what we should be doing as a district. And it's reignited and created some professional collaborative relationships with several agencies that I'd like to mention. Adelante Mujeres, Latino Network, Leadership Network, City of Hillsboro, Hillsboro Chamber of Commerce, and Portland State University. All of these partners are joining us in this grant. And even if we don't get funded, we're going to move forward with the work, and the opportunity to build these partnerships has been just invaluable to us to bring the community into the work that we're doing. So we're pretty excited about that. Lastly, we're going to be participating in OWALA, the Oregon Association of Latino Administrators, and HR is going to be part of a panel. And we're going to talk about the challenges and strategies that we use with multiple districts in recruiting and retaining minority staff. So it's going to be a really nice opportunity for us to share ideas and information. So we're pretty excited about that opportunity.
All right, Jean, have a question?
I kind of have a comment on the subject. Yeah. So, you know, you mentioned about the UUR training and the success in CFE, and have we explored the idea of where we had group discussion before on a book? Didn't exactly worked out the way we planned our group discussion. I was wondering if we could think about, or have we thought about, having a discussion specifically around equity for our district, and not just having cabinet and board members there as let's have a conversation about it, but having some background as far as maybe some background showing what types of training, you know, some examples of the trainings that staff members go through, but also inviting some of those partners that you mentioned, as well as some key parents, you know, really talk about the issues and really talk about having those discussions and, you know, having some real conversations. And I just wondered, I mean, I would be interested, but I would be interested not just having, like I said, just the group discussion amongst ourselves. I'd like to, you know, bring that out a little bit. Just a thought. But only one person.
You mentioned hiring season. Do you operate with a standard attrition rate assumption that you're planning to refill, or how is it that you kind of set the marker for what you're looking, you know, the number you're looking for?
Great, that's a great question. What we do is we work with the budget has to do a lot with it, and so the budget will set the expectations for the staff to student ratios, and so that determines numbers. And so we work from there, and we identify who's leaving. We're projecting, like with our dual language program, we work with OSP very closely to say, how is that program growing? What are the expectations for next year and down the road for, let's say, the number of bilingual teachers or teachers with certain kinds of licensures that we're going to hire, and we make our estimates that way. We haven't done much what I call pool hiring in the past. We've done a little bit, which means we predict and we hire for that, not necessarily having the exact openings at the time. Our experience with that has been very successful. In fact, I think what we've learned from doing the little pool hiring that we have is that it's a great way to get highly trained staff who are highly in demand, like some of our the positions that are hard to fill, like some of our math and science positions, our dual language positions, and so forth. So we'll do some predictions based on the programs that we have. We have a lot of conversations with staff, so a lot of our principals know who's thinking of leaving, what kinds of vacancies we're going to have, and so forth. And then once we get into the heavy hiring season, it's as people are resigning and retiring that we realize that we have more openings. So it pretty much unfolds. It starts about now and unfolds all the way through the end of August.
Okay, and while Adam's getting ready, I'm very sorry that I failed to kind of bring to your attention the fact that we now have Spanish translation available at our board meetings, in case you didn't notice. But I really appreciate the coordination in the OSP group to make sure that that can happen, and with Zaida for taking care of that for us. So thank you very very much.
I'm trying.
Well, I've got the last two sections of the strategic plan. The first is facilities, and we've spent quite a bit of time tonight talking about facilities. I would highlight that the first action area in the facilities portion of the strategic plan talks about how we're going to use our long-range planning committee, and the highlights from the December-January timeframe were that we met with the long-range planning committee to present much of the same information we shared with you around the need for boundary adjustment, and talked to them about the process, went over some of the same guiding principles, got their feedback on those. We also worked with them on the technology enhancement plan. We had Don Wolf come in and do a presentation on the technology enhancement plan. And we also updated them on the high priority maintenance list that we went over tonight, and shared with them some of those same concerns about grandstands and drainage issues that we're seeing at some of our elementary schools. On the second portion of the facility strategic plan, we talked about the technology innovation grants that had been awarded just shortly prior to our December meeting, the status of some of the new technology that we've purchased with the $1.5 million that we allocated for this year. And Don talked about the additional server and storage space that's been ordered and being set up in the server room here at the district level.
I'm curious, when we talk about the 1.5 million, how are we communicating that with, really showing the community how is that they are able to see how that's purchased? When parents start to see all these new computers and then that whole perception where they go, wait a minute, the bond failed and now you're buying these things, where did the money come from? I mean, how is it clearly?
Well, part of it is we made a real effort during the budgeting process last year to identify the fact that we were right.
I'm just saying, how are we communicating?
But we actually had this conversation yesterday with Michelle and Don and I, talking about how we were going to, number one, lay out the plan of how we're going to address some of our technology needs now that the bond has failed, and also how do we share with the community how we're using that $1.5 million. Well, even for those folks who know we have it budgeted, what are we doing with it? So that's on our work plan.
And that's a good point, even separate from your innovation grant. A number of schools were very successful in the fall with the Donors Choose Chevron grants, and a lot of technology, but some started coming in and same thing. If you're not connected to school and all of a sudden your student's talking about using an iPad mini or a Chromebook, you might be scratching your head going, how'd you get that? And bond didn't pass, or did the bond pass? And you realize it. Building principals could be very helpful if they're very clear with their communities.
Newsletters.
What's paying for those things. Because some of the schools were pretty successful with the Donors Choose program. And a lot, there was an influx, or as HSF grants start happening, and you often will see an influx of technology or materials with those that were clear that the school district's not paying for all.
I think it was this month's packet or last month's where I think Arenco donated quite a bit of money. I think it was to their own school and put in a big projector. So it's like to a parent's perception, they're like, I'll remember this in the future bond, I don't have to pay for it, so just, I think it's
right. Or if you're a school who didn't get it, you might be thinking, well, why did that school get it and I didn't get it?
I know Don is on the board's agenda or schedule for a future update to talk about that specifically, about what was in the bond initially and how we're going to continue with that work even.
I'm just wondering if maybe we should be utilizing Facebook and different things like that too, just to really communicate. Just as followers, kind of like following the buck so that people can understand where the money is coming from and whatnot. I mean, we could highlight like Arenco's booster, club and things like that. I don't know, just some thoughts.
Anyone else?
Well, we've got a spot for it. We've got a website specifically about Tech Enhanced Classroom, so as soon as we can kind of flesh it out with additional examples or, listings of money spent, we'll start here and then we can start promoting from there. So, thank you.
So I've also got the safety element of the strategic plan. The first item has to do with developing and implementing a sustainable district-wide anti-bullying and harassment campaign. The first item that Casey noted was that he did do a presentation to the board at the December 17th meeting where he presented a progress update on the anti-bullying and harassment work that's being done by the Youth Advisory Committee. The PSA public service announcement that the YAC students are working on will be produced on January 31st, and drafts of the marketing material are being created as we speak. Schools began administering the 2014 Student Wellness Survey that's used in, that will be used in a lot of the safety work that Casey and his crew do. The second element has to do with simplify, promote, and practice emergency procedures across all district facilities. The safety office held a planning meeting with the HPD and the Washington County Emergency Communication folks to address communication issues with first responders. We have spots in some of our buildings where the communication devices don't work as well. So we're working with these folks to try to address those issues. We began planning with facilities department to look into our PA systems and intercom, or to interface with our phone systems. We have buildings like this one where we don't have the ability to communicate with all of our folks at once. We don't have a PA system. So we're trying to incorporate the phone systems into that program. Reviewed incidents of lock-in and lock-out in our district during the fall. And then talked about the December safety compliance tracking that's been completed to ensure that all schools are doing the regularly required safety drills.
It's really too bad we have to do this when it's cold and wet outside.
Yeah.
Having that stuff in a week ago. It was cold and wet outside.
Also, it's probably worth noting, I know that in last month's update, you guys were told that the safety website had been updated, but just in light of, some recent concerns that happened in our schools, I wanted you to know that we have an area of the website that are current safety alerts. And so the extent to which we can start getting parents used to, wow, I heard this and I wonder what's going on. And if it's come to our attention, more than likely we'll have an alert up on the website. Or they can say, well, didn't that happen a month ago? And they can click on archive safety alerts. And that's something that we want to get parents used to as a resource for them. So.
All right, any other questions, comments for the entire update? Do you want to pause since we applauded for this? Thank you. Yeah, Janika.
So you're talking about the updates and all that for the website. So under all those areas and things, is your department responsible, or is each department instruction in? I was just curious.
There's no sleep in the communications department.
Yeah.
We give our stuff to her.
Says it with a
The magic
smile.
happens.
A little
Yeah.
dimple.
Thank
Good
you.
information. Thank you, everybody.
All right, and with that, we are going to discuss the Division 22 standards and assurance forms.
Okay, I'll be brief on this. Each year, we're required by law to inform the public of our standing on the Division 22 standards. This requirement has been put on hiatus for 2 years, and it's back. It's expected that we do this year. There are many standards in the Division 22, and we are nearly compliant. By April 15th, we need to submit our standing on the Division 22 standards, and we will be in full compliance by April 15th. The one place that we're not, it's mostly due to the fact that we haven't had to do this in the last 2 years, is a report to ODE on our intent to postpone curriculum adoptions. So there's a variety of adoptions that are recommended by the state that for whatever reason districts are not able to purchase. So for example, when they adopt new science standards, they would expect, they would identify materials that are allowable for you to purchase.
Isn't that nice of them? That's really nice of them.
And then in that year, they expect you to purchase those materials. So there's a form that we'll be submitting that identifies the materials or the content areas that we have postponed adoption on. And that is prepared and ready to go for your next board meeting. All you will need to do is hear the report and we will be in compliance. So it's good news.
So Dee's going to get 197 stacks of paper of everybody who, I mean, I can't imagine that there's any school district that's not behind in either hours or
Could be
textbook.
Could be Arlington, because they have wind.
Okay.
Turbines.
It's a common item that I've been in contact with everybody that I do business with. We're all submitting that paperwork.
Anyone have questions? It will be coming back to us. Okay, great, thank you. And now for the report that makes Monty smile. Adam, you're on deck.
Yay. So again, lots of good information in the board packet regarding what's happening in the business office. I would highlight a couple of things. First of all, we had a systems review visit from our software provider, Infinite Visions. Actually, Tyler Technology is the company that owns the software now, but they came out. We've been using the software for 5 years now, and we agreed that it was time to have them come out, look at how we're currently using the software, and then recommend improvements that we could make. So we have had the visit, we have had an initial follow-up conversation with the software vendor, and we met again today to talk about how we're going to implement some of the changes that they have suggested. So I think we've got some real opportunities to improve our efficiencies using the software that we currently have. So that's a good thing. The other thing is the end of January marks a big kind of highlight for the business office. 1099s went out today, W-2s went out yesterday, so that was a huge relief for the business office. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any other questions or comments for Adam?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. And next, I think this one on is from ESD.
Well, we do. I have a very full agenda, and I don't have any prepared presentation for you, so unless you have questions for me, sure thing.
Thanks for being here. And HCU, I don't see Eric. Is there anybody else? And HEA, Jill, are you here for HEA? Awesome. Come on up.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jill Golay, and I'm a school teacher for the Hillsboro School District. I teach second grade at Free Orchards Elementary in the town of Cornelius. And as I look over here at the board members, I do recognize a familiar face from this morning that was standing at the door of my classroom. I was hoping he would come in, but I think he knew that if he crossed the threshold, I'd put him to work and probably try to keep him most of the day. But I do want to extend an invitation to all of the board members as well as Mr. Scott. You're welcome anytime to come and visit my classroom. Of course, I always appreciate the extra set of hands with 36 second graders in the morning. But more importantly, anytime a child can have the undivided attention of an adult, it's very special to them, and they don't forget it, and so you're always welcome. And I'm here tonight on behalf of Maureen Barnhart, the Hillsboro Education Association, as well as the 1,000 plus members of the association. And in honor of the School Board Appreciation Month, I'd like to present a card to all of the board members to acknowledge that the student board and each of you plays a role to support student achievement. And typically, I don't like to ruin or spoil surprises, but tonight I'm going to read what's inside your card. The members of the Hillsboro Education Association wish to acknowledge the hard work of the Hillsboro School Board members who voluntarily assume the enormous job of directing the school district. Your actions and decisions affect our children now and help to determine their future. To honor the Hillsboro School Board directors, we have contributed $100 to the Oregon Education Association Foundation for the Children. The foundation offers support to meet our students' basic and immediate needs to succeed at school. And I don't know how familiar you are with the OEA Foundation, but 100% of the proceeds go into the fund. The administrative costs come out of the member dues. And since 1995, the OEA Foundation has given over $900,000 to meet the urgent and immediate needs of children across the state of Oregon. And so on behalf of the members in the association, I'd like to have you please accept these cards in recognition of our collaboration and work in putting the needs of our school children at the forefront of everything we do. Thank you. Thank you, Jill. Cards. Thank you. Mr. Scott? Thank you.
All right. I've had the opportunity to do a variety, just a number of school visits over the last couple of weeks, and always a highlight of the week to be able to do that. And I've been just incredibly impressed at what I see when I'm out. We've got staff members that are working hard to engage their students, and while class sizes aren't ideal, it's incredible the amount of headway that is being made by our teachers and just the expertise that they exhibit in engaging those students. High expectations continue to be set for our students. Instructional strategies that you see now as compared to 5 years ago are different. They're effective, they are targeted, and they're relevant for our students. And the productive relationships that you see between our staff members and the students are it's just encouraging. So just a big thank you to all of the teachers that I've had the opportunity to see over the last couple of weeks, and I continue to look forward to doing more visits. For the last couple of years, we have had periodic inquiries about providing translation at the board meetings. And so I'm thrilled that we are finally kicking that off this evening. And to Olga and friends, we appreciate that. Had the opportunity to visit the PAC meeting, the Parent Advisory Committee, a couple weeks ago. And I see a couple of our friends from that meeting, and glad you're here. And thank you for the feedback that you gave us. Very uncensored and direct feedback, and just appreciate that. And that's supposed to be a compliment. And finally, we should appreciate our board other months beside January. So, but thank you for all of your efforts. It is appreciated.
And with that, we'll move to board of director time. I'm going to start on Eric then.
Okay, well, I just wanted to mention that, you've probably heard me talk up here a lot about supporting school choice, and this is National School Choice Week, for those of you who aren't aware. I encourage any of you, if you're curious about what school choice means, to go to the schoolchoiceweek.com website and take a look.
I had a great time, visited with Mike, school was at Hill High. I got to see some small rooms, and I really wish I'd known to bring my trumpet, because we got to sit in the band and hear it play for us. So that was a lot of fun, good trip and good experience. He asked, Principal asked where we'd like to go, and I told him anywhere but the tech room. Because I've been there.
You didn't want to get emotional.
Looking for something else, so had a great time. But that was a great, different way to see the schools, and had a good week. Also appreciate the work the other board members we've gone through. Janine, Monty, working, preparing for the superintendent evaluation documents. That's been a very productive experience. I'm looking forward to getting back with everyone. I think we all are. And something that will be a great experience for us to go through.
Did we see your son up here this evening?
Yes. It's left of center.
Glenn?
Well, first off, thanks everyone for sticking out this late. And I wanted to thank also the students and others who gave us all these excellent goodies here. I feel like it's not deserved, honestly. I enjoyed being here very much and whatnot. And one thing I was curious about, those signs down in front, no one ever really explained what they were for. I didn't get a chance to read it. So the ones that we have underneath their names.
There's artwork from students. There must be.
It says they're from Eastwood Elementary staff and students.
Great.
They're big.
Thank you to those students as well.
Jean?
I just wanted to say I really appreciate, everything that was presented tonight, from the Operation School Bell to the Liberty Arts Program, School-Based Health Center. It just is another example of the different opportunities and choices that our students have within our district that are very enriching for them and provide them an excellent opportunity. We have that all across the district, and I was really fortunate to be part of the conversation earlier about our budget process, and look forward to having that be a really enriching conversation with the community and getting folks involved. And I know that, Mike, you've always led an example of that across many districts with your example on how to properly put out a budget process with the community. So thank you very much. And just, thank you all for the work. And I just thank you for all this too. And I wonder if I could have a little flowery picture in the poster. Isn't it adorable?
It took me an hour to make.
Monty?
I visited 2 high schools, 2 middle schools, and Miller Ed, and I'm really impressed with our staff. I'm really impressed with our students. Maybe it was when I went to high school, it was a lot quieter in those schools than I remember. And
you can go to the drama hall.
Well, we've got a class size problem at some of our schools that I think we need to address. We've got some intervention. Rebecca brought it up today in the budget committee. With 36 kids, we've got some kids that probably don't have the skill levels that they should have, but with 36 kids, it's awfully difficult for that teacher to get around to everybody. And so it's kind of going over the top of their head, and we get further and further behind. So I think that's something we need to address. But I was really impressed with our staff at all the high schools and the middle schools.
I just have a couple of things. I wanted to remind board members that there's a couple events coming up, both the Crystal Apple Dinner and the School Foundation Auction. And Beth often can help coordinate if you want to attend, to help us get tickets to attend those events. The Crystal Apple's in February, and the auction is March 8th. Thank you. We did, last week we had a couple legislative events. One was a town hall at Century High School, where I thought we had a very good turnout of parents who had an opportunity to talk one-on-one with legislators and hear from legislators about their hopes for the session, which wasn't a lot of information. And the following night was a Washington County event that was school board members and legislators from all around Washington County. And I left there with a couple of things. One, I felt like the message of fully funding kindergarten without diluting the weight of everybody was very much heard. And there were a number of legislators who kind of were leaving that meeting with that charge of believing in the value of fully kindergarten and that they needed to figure out how to fund it. People who wanted to problem solve PE and other mandates that we were saying these are problems to us. And Mr. Saxton, who is, I'm going to get his title wrong, the superintendent of Oregon Schools, yes, left me with hope. And in these times of budgetary crises, when we're trying to figure it out, you can choose to throw your arms up in the air and say the sky is falling and bury your head, or you can find the hope and optimism in there about how do we be strategic and thoughtful and deal with these issues. And Mr. Saxton left me feeling very hopeful rather than discouraged. And so that evening was well worth my time. And it's musical season, so hit a local high school. Into the Woods is playing at Hill High. It's almost musical time at Liberty High School. They are putting on Young Frankenstein. Glencoe's opens the end of February. They're doing a Drowsy Chaperone. And Century's doing Seussical, and I'm doing that in the days. But it's musical time, the best entertainment you can get in town for the least amount of money. So support the arts is the only way they get to do a play next year. And with that, we are adjourned.